Hi guys, thought I'd make a quick video of a new guitar I've received today. It might not be a make you're familiar with. I wasn't familiar with it until maybe a couple of weeks ago, where I saw someone on my Facebook feed who had purchased this guitar. This guitar make, not this specific one. It piqued my curiosity because the reviews supposedly seem to be quite good. So when I looked into it and I found out they're actually accessible via Amazon, which surprised me, I've got to say. Amazon is not normally the place I associate with guitar buying. But when I started looking at the reviews on there, it seemed that people were having extremely positive experiences with this particular guitar make, especially at the price point that we're talking about. So when I originally looked on the Amazon website, their guitars were at £299. When I actually purchased this one, it had gone up by £10 to £309, free delivery from within the UK. So I was definitely curious. And I figured out that actually if I order it from Amazon and I don't actually like it for whatever reason, I know they're normally quite good and quick at dealing with returns. So I almost felt I didn't have much to lose. Their models looked really, really cool. So I decided to go for one of their headless models, which is the W2 model, which is fixed bridge headless guitar. And I thought, you know what, reviews seem good at that price point. You know, what have I got to lose? And I got it this morning, and here it is. And oh my god, it's just absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's I just, yeah, it's blown me away. The finish looks impeccable. I love how you can feel the kind of roughness of the little edges, I guess, and the indents within the natural pattern of the burl. I think it's poplar. I think it's poplar burl. They have a number of different finishes. I went for the black finish. So this is kind of black with a natural kind of swirl, I guess. Oh, sorry about all this reflection. It's super smooth. It's a nice matte finish, just as I like it. I don't really like the glossy looking guitars. I think it makes a guitar look quite cheap. Fixed bridge, as I mentioned. Volume, tone, three-way switch, truss rod adjuster through there, 24 frets, and headless. So let's change the camera angle and let's have a look in a bit more detail at some of these specs. Okay, so here she is. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a 24 fret headless guitar, 25.5 inch scale as expected. The specs have it down as having a redwood body. It's a 5-piece maple and redwood neck and rosewood fingerboard. Steel frets. And I've got to say, actually, the frets are extremely well polished at the ends. You know how you sometimes, when you do take a risk on a guitar that maybe hasn't got a high price point, you maybe expect some roughness around the edges, especially when it comes to fretwork. I've got to say, I'm very pleasantly surprised with this guitar. It's done really, really well. According to the specs, it's also equipped with Diodario strings, 10 to 46, and the radius is a compound radius. So it goes from 9.5 to 14 inches, the higher you go up the neck. So let's zoom in a bit first. Oh, that finish. That finish is just amazing. Let's just have a look at those. I'm a big fan of natural wood. I love natural finishes, and sometimes just adding a slight kind of tint of some sort can bring out some lovely detailing. And I just love those notches. I love the little indents. They've done an exceptional job on this top and applying it as well. Obviously, due to the price point, if you have a look at the side, you can see it's quite thin veneer. But to be honest, at £309, I would expect that. So if you have a custom guitar, so in my custom guitar, what I tend to have on my top is normally about that thickness, possibly. So you're paying for a bigger slab of more kind of expensive wood, I guess. Well, this one is quite a thin application, but it looks absolutely amazing. It looks phenomenal. What I have to say while we're on looks, I've been to many guitar shows and exhibitions, where you get lots of luthiers and companies displaying their guitars. If I saw this guitar hanging up somewhere, it would definitely catch my attention. But if I saw it next to a, I don't know, £3,000 price tag, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I would say, yeah. By looking at it, I could see how it could cost that much by looks alone. So to get it for something this cheap and for it to look this professional and this well done, I'm honestly blown away. I've got to say as well, I'm not being paid by the company to say this. I'm not affiliated with the company in any way. I just can't believe it. And I just felt I need to let people know about this because, with COVID especially, I think a lot of people have been affected with jobs and work. It's been quite difficult financially for a lot of people. And I think the custom guitar market is just so expensive sometimes. It's a lot of the times it's out of the reach of lots of musicians, amateurs and professionals alike, So for a company to come along and provide classy, high quality finishes in a very nicely put together guitar at incredibly affordable prices, it's worth shouting about because, a lot of people could really do with some joy at the moment. And I think, well, you want joy. This guitar gives you joy. There's no question about that. So let's have a closer look at some of the hardware. So the bridge, it says licensed by KD. It's a patent. When I looked into it further on Google, it seemed to be that it's a Chinese bridge. So it's a bit unusual. I don't think it's necessarily, it's got its own kind of design. So yeah, it is what it is. It works fine. I haven't messed around with any height adjustment yet. So it's my first time with a headless guitar. So from my understanding with this particular bridge, the tuning is done pretty much quite straightforward. And this is something that I really like about this model. It comes with its little wrench, which is magnetic, and just lives in there. And whenever you need it, you just take it out to use it. So tuning the guitar is super easy. You just put this little wrench in the hole and turn it accordingly until you get to the correct pitch. You can turn these by hand as well. They are a bit stiffer, so hence the tool, but you can do it on the fly. So just to let you know that if you were to be gigging with the guitar, as it normally is, a very dimly lit stage, and you don't want to be faffing around with a small little mechanism like this in the middle of a set, you are able to adjust those manually. I found that some of these are a little bit stiffer than some of the other ones here, but I think over time it'll probably be fine. From my understanding as well, to change now the saddle height, you have to adjust one of these kind of screw heads, if you want to call it that, in here. So one of them I think you loosen, and then the other one you adjust. So there's some YouTube videos out there showing that in a bit more detail. I haven't tinkered with it at all yet, so I'll get my hands onto that a bit later on if I need to adjust things further. So it's got two passive humbuckers, really nice covers. I love that they've gone for something classy. I think whoever put this guitar together, as in the actual design, understood the flow of the look of an instrument. There's nothing really that stands out as clashing hugely. It all really ties nicely into a coherent package. So there's a lot of really, really good design choices have been made here, which are excellent. So passives, as I mentioned, they're pretty good. I won't be going onto the sounds in this video. I'll do that on another video. But they do the job really well. I'm pleasantly surprised by them. They're not really very high gain. So in my other guitar, I've got EMGs, and I definitely noticed that I need to push the gain more on my amp to get the same amount of juice out of these humbuckers. But I play mostly metal, even though I do like to practice other styles as well. But a lot of my playing is based around very heavy riffing, kind of fast thrash, death metal, different things like that. A lot of emphasis on rhythm playing. So for me, I guess very tight, articulate pickups are my go-to. And yes, these sound pretty good. Whether I'll change them in the future, I don't know at this moment in time. I really like the look as well, so I will want to play with them for a longer period of time before making that decision. I've just got the guitar today, so I just want to give it a chance as is. Tone knobs. So these have these kind of unusual little arrows that indicate where is the kind of which position you're on, I guess. They're slightly kind of facing different ways. So that one's facing upwards, that's facing kind of to the side. That's the maximum, it goes there, maximum there. So I saw some reviews that some people had found these extremely stiff. Mine are pretty good, and I'm happy with them. They look absolutely fine. I don't think they really needed the little arrows. I think you could have got rid of that and it would have maybe added more of a sleeker look when it comes to the tone and volume knobs, but I'm nitpicking here, to be honest. Three-way switch, nice and smooth. Nothing there at all. There was no crackling or anything when I plugged it in. There wasn't anything anything that sounded loose. Let's have a look here at the fretwork. So, as I mentioned earlier, the fret ends are really smooth, really nicely polished. Going up the neck, finishing with the nut, and mine is really well cut. maybe in the future I would maybe change it for a nut of maybe a little bit more quality. But for now, it's absolutely fine. I know some people had issues with their nut and had to maybe file it more to make some of the strings fit. I don't have an issue like that with mine. I know some people also mentioned, and again, this is in the minority from the reviews on Amazon, I think it was literally 1 or 2 people that had found that their string wasn't kind of sitting in the right slot, as if it had been worn down or something like that. But again, on my guitar, no problems at all. Everything is in perfect condition. So if I turn it over now, and let's have a look. And that's another thing, before I do that, it's not that heavy at all. It feels nice and portable, lovely and compact. And the weight is just great. It's not overly heavy at all. Love, we look at the side here, love the curved side. Again, they didn't have to do that. And it's nice to have that little bevel there. I think it adds class. The more little details a guitar can have like that, the better, in my opinion. From my understanding, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but from my understanding, people are saying that the body is actually the same body design as the Strandberg guitars. So it's almost using pretty much the same template, because as far as I understand, the Strandberg body isn't trademarked. What was trademarked was the Endure neck, which was their own neck design, which this guitar doesn't have. This guitar just has a normal, what you would argue, a normal guitar neck. But the body, if it is indeed Strandberg design, then yeah, all I know is that it looks amazing, it feels great, and the weight is fantastic. And yeah, that top, God, I can't get enough of that top. So the other finishes they had were a really natural finish, so much more yellow in coloration. Then they had a blue finish, which looked really nice as well, actually, and a purple. But yeah, there was something about this one that just was calling to me. All right, let's turn it over. So another thing I love is this kind of open grain on the guitar back as well. I have it in my custom. So with the other guitar I have is a custom Sabre guitar. No longer active, unfortunately, but so British made. Really, really, really good guitar. And it has a similar kind of open pore finish, which again, I love. Back of the neck. So this is 5-piece maple and redwood. It's got a really nice, almost like a roasted color to it. It doesn't come across that well on the video. It comes a bit more yellowy on the video, but actually in real life it's a bit more of a darker orange. It looks really, really nice. And there you got the EART trademark at the back. The bolt-on joint there. And the cavity, I haven't opened this up to see what the electronics look like, but everything's working fine at the moment, so no need to. And there's the neck joint again. Pretty good, pretty tight, very snug. So yeah, I love what I'll do now, if I turn this over, the input jack. I think that's a really nice, neat design. Out of the way, it's got its own little recess. Yeah, I think it looks great. And as you can see, there's 2 sections from which to put your strap. Down there, then at the horn. I prefer it when it's there rather than in other locations like some other guitars. So I'm really happy with that. So my thoughts on this EART W2 Headless guitar is that it offers outstanding value for the price. If this was 4-5 times the price, I could quite easily believe it by looks alone. I find it really comfortable. The action is a tiny bit higher than what I'd normally go for, but that's obviously easily adjustable. So I'll be playing a bit with the saddles to bring it down to what I need. The neck is really, really, really comfy. I normally go for really flat, flat-backed guitar necks. So I wasn't really sure what to expect with this one because they call it a C-curved neck profile, and it does have curvature on it, but it's not actually really curved. So the shoulders of it is hard to explain, but they're not. If you look at it from the side, it's almost like a flat C, I'd say, a flat C profile. So it feels quite fast, quite comfortable. It doesn't feel cumbersome or old school, I'd say. It feels quite modern. Very easy to play on. I don't find that it hampers my playing at all. So as I said before, I think the amount of guitar you're getting for the money is outrageous. It really is making me question, why am I tempted to go down the custom route when there's options like this that can arrive to my door in 2 days, delivered from the UK. It's definitely made me question whether I should be looking at some of these really expensive custom models when I can get something so amazing like this, and spend a fraction of the price. So for the price of a custom guitar, you're looking probably £2,000 upwards. You know, you can get 5 of these. You can get one in every color. They have non-headless guitars as well, and they're exactly the same price. I think they're bringing out some 7 strings soon also. And I think for some of their guitars, they'll be coming with a gig bag as well. So this one didn't come with a bag. It just came in the box. But I have to say that my initial impressions so far from having it in hand for a couple of hours are that I'm just blown away. I absolutely love it. And I would definitely urge you to at least check them out. Have a look at the reviews, have a look at the pictures that people have posted, their experiences, the sound clips on YouTube. I know that probably the tops can't be guaranteed to be the same every time. That was one of the things I had in the back of my mind as to what happens if maybe I get a top that I'm not too fond of, because maybe the pattern is not 100% right as I would like it, possibly. But I guess the good thing with Amazon is that you can just return it and try another one. But I think they're all pretty consistent. When I've seen photographs of some of the other EART W2 models, the patterns look very consistent as well. So I think you can be pretty confident about what you're going to get. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this quick overview of the EART W2 Headless guitar. Not a make I'd heard of before, but I'm so glad that I took a chance, because it's outstanding. And at £309, well, I don't think you could get a better looking guitar. Thanks for watching, guys.